We'll tell you about coronavirus, you know, a viral infection spreading through China. You do know that a lot of Chinese come to Ghana. We'll talk to you about that briefly. But since we're talking about persons being arrested by the police, let's tell you what's coming from the quarters of the police service. There's a press release here that's coming from the IGP's office. It says the Inspector General of Police has announced a reward of 10,000 Ghana cedis to any person who gives credible information, leading to the arrest of 2 suspected armed robbers who shot and killed 1 police officer and wounded 2 others in the early hours of Wednesday, 22nd January 2020, which is today at Mankasim in the Central Region. All the officers are stationed at Mankasim Divisional Police Headquarters. The incident occurred at about 2 o'clock or 0200 hours when a police patrol team responded to a distress call from the Zen filling station at Mankasim. Upon arrival, the robbers opened fire, injuring 2 police officers in the process. It says finally, however, at about 0430 hours of the same day, the body of the deceased police officer, who was not on duty and was in civil clothing, was found with gunshot wounds at a distance about 200 meters away from the robbery scene. Investigations are ongoing to establish the facts of events leading to the death, and it is signed by Irene Sewa Opon, who is Deputy Superintendent of Police Public Affairs. So 2 police officers, we understand, have been killed. The IGP has issued a reward of 10,000 Ghana cedis for anybody who has information leading to the arrest of the culprits. Now, Chinese officials have confirmed 8 more deaths this afternoon, bringing the death toll in the newly discovered coronavirus in China to 17. Fresh information from Beijing indicates that the number of cases have also gone up to nearly 550 in Wuhan, central China. In Ghana, health officials have initiated some actions to try and deal with this problem, which has put many countries around the world on high alert. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins me with more. I do have a statement here. We'll just go quickly through the statement. It says that outbreak of novel coronavirus infection 2019 in China. And this is a press release by the Health Ministry. It says the health authorities in China confirmed an outbreak of novel coronavirus infection on the 7th of January 2020 in Wuhan. Well, Fred Smith joins me now. Fred, give us highlights of this statement.
Well, indeed, the statement talks about the measures taken by the Ghanaian health officials to contain or to prevent an outbreak in Ghana. I'll give you those details shortly. Okay. First, we need to understand what this disease is all about. Now, the coronaviruses, they are a large group of viruses that are very common in animals. Okay. They can spread from animals to humans as well. The current outbreak happened in Wuhan, in central China, and there's a suspicion that this happened to an animal and then
transferred subsequently to a human being.
So there's currently work underway to try and contain it there, but it started spreading already.
Because we understand that there is also human-to-human
yeah, there is also human-to-human transmission. So now cases have been recorded in other parts of China, and there's 1 case recorded in the United States today. So we understand the WHO is currently locked in a meeting to decide if they have to consider if they have to declare an international public health emergency over this issue, just like they did in the case of Ebola and the swine flu that we had some time back.
That's
so
pretty
that's what
disturbing.
is happening. Yeah, very disturbing.
But here in Ghana, we're taking our own action.
We are. So for you to know someone who has this disease, here are the symptoms that you see in those people. The viruses, well, usually will make you feel sick, and then you have mild to moderate upper respiratory tract illness. So this will be like common cold, you sneezing and the rest. So
that's pretty dangerous. I mean, I've seen people with these symptoms, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have it, right?
Yeah, that would not mean they have it, but you need to take precaution once you see people like that. So the other things you can see, they will have runny nose, cough, sore throats, maybe some headache, and sometimes fever. So if you see people like that, there are things you can do to prevent contracting
the spread of the disease.
Exactly. So stay a bit away from him, from whoever it is, and do not touch, because this is transmitted through body fluids, and so if you shake hands, just like you had in the case of Ebola, you can't pass it on to the other person. In Ghana, what we are doing, because there's not been any outbreak in Ghana yet, we are preventing an outbreak. There are lots of people. China now is Ghana's biggest trading partner. It means that people travel between the two countries quite a lot, and so the steps that have been taken, two mainly, is to alert. They're dealing with our capacity to address this concern in case somebody reports a case similar to this issue.
We understand that this is not a curable viral infection.
Well, because it's a new virus they've discovered, they are still looking at it. So at this moment, we cannot conclude yet.
Okay.
So we wait on the WHO. When this meeting is over, I'm sure we will have some information on this one. Then what the other thing they're doing is to also check people who are coming into Ghana, especially they've increased or stepped up surveillance at the Kotoka International Airport, where lots of flights coming from China. And so anybody coming in from China, they've stepped up the checks. So I'll read to you what the government said. This statement is issued by the Health Ministry, signed by Health Minister Kweku Ajiman Menu. And it says that as part of measures to prevent an outbreak in Ghana, passengers from Ghana will undergo an enhanced screening procedures, including the administration of health questionnaires. You'd have to fill out a questionnaire to indicate how you feel, what you've been through, who you've met, and stuff like that. Now, health facilities have already been alerted in Ghana to prepare and manage cases in case of an outbreak. The general public have also been advised to take certain preventive measures, and I'll take you through those measures. It says you have to regularly wash your hands with soap under running water. You have to do hand rubbing with alcohol, just like we did with Ebola. So if you have a sanitizer, you have to use it. Keep a distance of at least 1 step, which will be 1 meter, from a person who is showing signs of fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing. If you've come into contact with a sick person or with potentially infected surface or objects has occurred, those involved must not touch their eyes. So, for instance, you've touched a surface that you suspect someone who has been infected has already touched. Do not touch your eye.
Does it mean that they can confirm at this point that...
It cannot be confirmed yet, but do not touch your eye.
What has the eye got to do with this? Do we have an idea?
Well, it's, this thing spreads more through bodily fluids. And so if you're talking about the eye, there are fluids, it's easily, consumed. And so... Because
I'm just touching my eye, so I just want to be sure that I am safe.
Yes. Yeah, so avoid doing that. Don't touch your nose or your mouth, and you have to wash your hands under running water, as I said earlier. Regularly. It's advisable to be physically active, drink plenty of fluids, eat well, reduce stress, and have enough sleep. Now, people should seek treatment immediately if you discover that you have come into contact with any suspicious symptom.
I think that one of the things that the Ghana Health Service should be helping us do is whether or not these hospitals are well equipped to deal with this at this point, because you remember with Ebola there were specific centers set up for Ebola response, which made it faster and easier. Do they say anything about that from your sources?
Well, this statement does not say, and we have not picked up any of such information, except to know that the World Health Organization is liaising with various countries around the world, especially places where the Chinese people travel from China to or in between, such that these countries will step up their surveillance to ensure that anybody who shows the least of signs is taken care of. Maybe you'll be quarantined. Mention is made of the fact that we actually have the capacity to, test and deal with this situation. The Noguchi Memorial Research Center is there for us to do all the tests in case somebody is found to have come into contact with an infected surface or person.
Well, this is pretty scary. From all the descriptions that we've had, it sounds very close to Ebola. It is in Asia, but like we said, there's several Chinese people who live in this country. And people do business. Ghanaians travel to China. Fred loves to travel to China a lot. Have you been hearing anything from your friends in China?
Well, not yet. I've not spoken to anyone yet, but it's important to let you know. Well, I'm sure you've mentioned already. As of this afternoon, the death toll was 9. And between that time and now, say 3-4 hours, it's jumped to 17. So that's real scary.
It is.
And the earlier we put a stop to it, the better it will be for all of us. And your contribution to this is to avoid touching people who are showing some of the signs that we've mentioned.
So common cold, coughing, difficulty in breathing, like he said, these are some of the signs. Running nose, these are some of the signs, the things that you should look out for. So perhaps we go back to the Ebola days. You don't shake hands, every now and then.
And keep your sanitizer very close.
Sanitizer, yeah. Fred, thank you very much. Fred Smith is head of our health desk. They're bringing us up to speed on what the health ministry is doing about this virus that is breaking out in China, that is already spread to the United States of America.